great to see and hear so many of you here with us today. I want to start my talk with a thank you, actually. Not just for getting out and coming and spending some time with us in this wonderful spot, but for being with us and doing your business with Booking over the last couple of years, which I can only say have been unusual. We very much value your partnership and hope we can deserve that to continue as we work to be that partner of choice, because we recognize you have a choice. Now, our theme today, as you can see, is we make it easier, and you make it unforgettable. And for me, there's partnership all the way through that, from finding a traveler all the way through that value chain to having somebody leave with a smile on their face because they had a fabulous experience. But we play different roles in there, and seeing how we can do that better together is what we're trying to focus on. And we do strive to be a customer-centric company. But what does that mean at Booking? We like to think of our marketplace as having two sides, and we have customers on both sides of that. We're very used to looking at travelers on the one hand, and we've been obsessing about those since we began as a company, making sure we deliver for them. But you all, as partners, are customers too. And when we look at it as a two-sided marketplace, we can see how we need to maintain balance. And then when we take that customer-centric lens, it's easy for us to see what we need to do to make sure it makes sense for you to want to be working in our marketplace. Not just because we give you that incremental demand, which we know you love and why you came to work with us, but that we try and make things easier for you to distribute your inventory or your services with us. That we actually give you the tools and the insights to be able to lean in and grow with us. That we make it simple and innovate together by listening to what you have to say. And most importantly, we want to be the sort of brand that you want to do business with, because we have a reputation of treating partners well and equitably. And on that note, I'd like to sort of have a bit of a hands-up moment to say we haven't had some of those finest moments this year in earning your trust. If I say as a start on payments, when earlier in the year we updated our financial systems, it didn't go entirely to plan, and there was a small number of partners who didn't receive their payments, and we were also a bit slow to fix that. But we will be working to regain that trust and make sure we make that right for those partners. And if you're in this room and one of those, my personal apologies for how that unfolded. We certainly are learning from that situation. But there's also fraud and cybersecurity, which has really increased in our industry and under other industries this year, and that's not going to go away. There are many bad actors out there who are able to use the internet and the tools, and we need to be one step smarter. So if that really appeals to you, there is a session this afternoon in greater detail where we can share more with what we're doing with our hundreds of people in the space of machine learning and data to actually start to protect our industry better. Now, if I look back to, Jeroen mentioned our mission here, making it easier for everybody to experience the world. I've been at Booking for about 18 months now, and I can really see how we're trying to live that mission and bring it to life. And what I get excited about most in there are those two words, easier and everybody. I'll come on to easier in a moment, because we're not always the easiest to work with, I admit. But for everybody, I get excited by the way we're starting to be able to address different traveler groups with different desires and different needs, and be able to surface activities and accommodations and things in different ways. There's a sustainability badge that helps people who care about that come to the fore. Many of you partners also lean in and work with it. But also our Travel Proud, where we can help people travel as themselves and feel included. The way we can use data to help make things easier for different populations of travelers is great. But that word, everybody, also means you all here in the audience as partners. And you have different needs, you have different industries, you have different types of products. You probably have different back office setups. I heard yesterday from one partner about some things we could do a little bit better there for them. So it's important we hear that and make sure that as we tackle the way we approach stuff, that it speaks to the challenges that you have and that we try and solve those together. Now, if I look at the world of making things easier, I'm going to throw up something here. Oh, I'm glad people are laughing. I was told this wasn't a product in Mexico, so you've just helped me out enormously. So suddenly I'm calm for the day now. But I'm an engineer, and I'm never far away from one of these cans. There's always one in the cupboard, because it's stuff that makes things move and makes it easier. Let me have a show of hands behind the laughing. How many of you actually know this or maybe possess a can? Yay, awesome. Right, I've won a bet with Bob there on that one, so that's wonderful. But the reason I like this particular product, not just because it symbolizes for me taking friction out of stuff, but the number 40 happens to be the number of formulas that this product had before it got to the one which we actually use today. And it really has a bit of the DNA of Booking in there, in the way that we continuously use experimentation to find better answers, better solutions, and iterate to make things finer for travelers and for partners in our marketplace. But it's also widely available, it's ubiquitous, but it can be used by anybody, and that's what I'd like to think we can work towards. So if you bear with me, it's yellow and it's blue and it sort of looks like our brand. I'd like to see if we could move towards giving you a little bit of this as we work. So hold us to account here. Tell us during the day, as Darun said, I want to hear from you how we could be the booking grease that will make your business move a little bit more smoothly and doing that together. But if I just come back to this idea of balance we talked about having in the marketplace there, of course, we want to do so much more for you as partners, but we will not trade off our focus on the traveller. It's what we do, it's how we came to be. And actually, when we see things on both sides of the marketplace, it's better for both, and we look for solutions that work for both sets of customers. But that's challenging. Well, we do like a challenge. But importantly, the way we address it needs to come by understanding and listening to both sides. And that's why, as Darun said as well, there's many of us here today. We want to spend time with you. We want to listen to you. So please interact with us. I'm certainly looking forward to getting to know many of you more as well. Perhaps a dance later. I like a little bit of salsa, who knows? But please let us hear what you have to say to make this a dual solve together for all of our partners. And so on the topic of listening, that's a perfect segue for me to introduce our first panel. Don't want to get this wrong here. So I'd like you to welcome to the stage with me momentarily for our exploration of what partners actually from the industry have to say to us. We have Delia Osegueda, who is Director of Global Partnerships from Blue Diamond Resorts. We have Danea Zamora, who is Chief Commercial Officer from Hoteles City Express. And to keep the diversity on the panel up, we've got a male who is Sebastian Leitner, and he's VP of Partnerships from Cloudbeds. Please help me welcome them. Wonderful. So in terms of getting started here, obviously I've just shared titles, but they don't tell the full story of what people do. So let's start with you, Sebastian. Would you like to help the audience understand a bit more about your role and how your partnership is with Booking?
Sure, be happy to. And thanks for having me. This is a fantastic place, a fantastic destination, fantastic property. My name is Sebastian Leitner. I head up partnerships at Cloudbeds. In LATAM, we power about 5,000 hotels that use Cloudbeds as a product to manage the business. We are excited about the growth that we drive together with Booking.com. We bring, and this is really how we view our role as a premier software partner, is to enable properties to be successful in the Booking.com marketplace. A fun fact that I didn't know is that as I was preparing for this session, about 20% of the properties we onboard into Cloudbeds don't use Cloudbeds, don't use Booking.com when they actually onboard with Cloudbeds. And so we view this as an opportunity to bring on new supply into Booking.com and ultimately help these hoteliers be successful business owners and operators and hopefully be sustainable for a long time. The other thing that gets me excited about our partnership with Booking.com is that the connected trip, at least from our perspective, is finally here. We launched in September our guest communication platform, Whistle, that allows hoteliers to communicate with guests at any point in time, and that includes the Booking.com guest, of course, and allows hoteliers to engage early on during the guest stay with customers and hopefully create better experiences.
Yeah, that's perfect to hear our connected trip vision coming to life first on the stage from one of our providers. So thank you for that, Sebastian. Coming secondly to you, Delia, how do you see your role and also the relationship with Booking?
Well, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Blue Diamond Resorts, I'm the director of global partnerships. So I've been with the company for 10 years. The company's been around for 12 years, and we're one of the fastest growing resort chains in the Caribbean with 60 properties in over 10 countries. And Booking was with us since the beginning. So they've been holding our hands when we just came and say, hey, now it's time to get into the hotel industry. We've been part of the Sunwind Travel Group. And so we had other branches in the industry, and hotels was the next one. And so Booking has been with us since day one. And we consider Booking being one of our successful partnership stories. We've been able to leverage our strengths and work in opportunities. And one of my greatest, stories with Booking was during the pandemic, which nobody wants to talk about that anymore. But one of our properties here, Royalton Chic Cancun, was the top producing property for Booking in the Cancun area. So that kept us afloat, and we have a great relationship with the team here, led by Isabel and Juan, who oversee our accounts. So it's a great relationship.
Thank you. That's wonderful to hear. And now, Danae, to you. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for give us the opportunity to be here. I'm very grateful and very happy to share this time with you. My name is Ana Zamora, and I am CCO for Telecit Express. I have been here since the last 5 years, and in the hospitality industry, I have been for 16 years now. Always in the commercial area, sometimes in hotels, sometimes in the central office, but always in the sales department. And now in Telecit Express, I am responsible for the commercialization and distribution of the more than 150 hotels that we have in Colombia, Chile, and Costa Rica, in Mexico. And I'm so happy to have this opportunity, because I think that Booking is one of our most important partners for us, and we have this kind of trust relationship between each other. So I think that we can also still doing so much more things that make this like win-to-win relationship.
Yeah.
So
that's wonderful to hear, and thank you very much for the positive words. If possible, could we put a negative slant on stuff and tell us maybe what we're not so good at, so we can see where we can improve better for you?
Only opportunities. Look, I think we're in a very interesting moment in time, and I do think that we still have work to do as companies facilitating travel to, in a way, revolutionize travel search. And I'm looking at Booking.com to help us do that. I think with the, development in artificial intelligence, I'm somewhat confident that as a traveler, booking my next vacation will become easier and faster. And what that means from my perspective sometimes is breaking potentially the current hierarchy that we have from destination to property to product. I'd love for maybe a company like Booking.com to flip this and say, hey, this is Sebastian. He has 2 kids, 5 and 10. Here is his preferences. Here are the products that meet your search criteria, regardless of the destination. And that would make my life as, being responsible in the family to booking travel much easier. So I think generative AI is a huge opportunity that may break certain relationships that we're used to, but I think there's also a huge opportunity. As a partner, I'd love for us to do more on incrementality, maybe less on top of funnel competition and clicks, and really leverage your user groups, your mobile platform, and see how we can drive more incremental demand into the destinations, into the properties that are looking for guidance.
I know we'd certainly love to do that. And thank you for answering as a customer. I didn't check that everybody was a customer on the traveller side first, so thanks very much for that. Danae, what could we do better for yourselves?
Well, I think that before I answer the question, I have to say, because I think that it's important, that Booking is one of these partners where we always listen to us, and you always take care of our suggestions, our commitments, and comments, and work on that. But we've been working with Booking very closely over the years, and we have the opportunity to be part of some testings that you are doing in sustainability, in sponsor ads, and technology that gave us a lot of information so we can improve our offer to our customers. So what I'm trying to say is that you can't stop to doing that. And I know that maybe the things that I'm going to say, you're already working on that. But if I can change something right now, I think that it would be that the Genius discount can be managed independently. So that can be, or that allowed us non-stockable promotions that can allow us to implement some more aggressive strategies in each property according to the needs of each property. And the other one, I think that could be that the booster can be billed also separately. That means that we can receive one invoice for the commission and another one for the booster. I think that with that we can be, or we can clarify first to the hotel that these activities, the budget for these activities come from the property, and also to clarify to the owners that this kind of activities really works and it's worthy to invest in it. So I think if we can work in that 2 points, we can be more competitive and improve the results from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Flexibility is something we hear from lots of partners without me asking for a show of hands here, and we will touch on Genius later this afternoon. But I do think in the back office side of things, there's maybe where we don't always focus and look, there's different ways of thinking how we could make things easier there. So that's a really good one for us to think more on. And so finally, Delia, what could we, if we had a magic wand, what would your first choice of things be?
I had 3 wishes.
Oh, 3, okay.
Yeah, as Sebastian said, there's just opportunities, right? And that's what makes us partners. But, some of the things, especially in the destinations where we are, where it's more leisure and people tend to book and wish about these destinations, we'd love to see package pricing where you're able to bundle flights and hotels together.
Yeah.
We've especially, in the last few years, we noticed that when you book a package together, you're most likely less likely to cancel, and so that helps, for us to budget as well as for you guys.
Yeah.
So I know this is something that we've discussed, over the years, and that you guys have been considering more and more as the time buys. So I hope that we're able to see that very soon. Another thing is dynamic child pricing. Again, for the all-inclusive environment, it's hard to just not being able to account for that. So there's been some progress. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, we had a meeting with your team about that. So I know that that's coming along. We just want to fast track it. So that's a great opportunity. And as we continue to be very global and see opportunities. And realize what the market segmentations are versus, a person that comes from Europe or a person that comes from South America into destinations where we are. We'd love to see a little bit more of market segmentation and pricing too. So we're able to just, have a better scenario with you guys and leverage in those opportunities.
Yeah.
So those are my 3 wishes.
No, that's perfect. And actually, again, you're not alone. I'm sure there's about 100 hands in the audience for packages, which we hear.
Yeah.
And I think it's some way coming from Booking, having started with a global one-size-fits-all, deciding how and where we sort of go local and change things. These topics are coming up. So they're on roadmaps. I would speed some of those up if I had my own magic wand, but we certainly have them listed. So that's super helpful. I'm going to look now at because we're looking straight at you in the middle here, industry trends. Obviously, there's different trends go on locally as globally. But what are you seeing as the trends in the travel industry from your perspective? And actually, how are they shaping your own plans as a business?
Since the last 3 years, we've been making some market researches that give us a lot of information, but I think that we can focus on 3 points. The first of all is nearshoring. I think that it's the main topic now. And this gave us a lot of opportunity in some places and a lot of industries. And for us, as our brand covers the major industrial and leisure corridors, we have the possibility to offer a lot of product to the traveler. So I think this is one of the most important. Then I think that the travelers are seeking the most of the destination, and they are looking always for destinations who has something to tell. And again, with our full coverage, we have these fulls their needs with all the coverage of City Express. And finally, sustainability. I have to say that if we had options or sustainable options to the travelers, we've been touching all the points. For us, we've been working with Booking to distribute our properties under the sustainable platform.
Yes.
And we have already there more than 150 hotels. So I
That's
think
great.
that with that we can have the possibility to ensure the travel that we have what they are looking for. So.
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to come back on sustainability after we see
Yeah.
what the other trends are here, because I think that's keen to
Happy
see what
to
it
answer.
means to everybody. Delia, are you seeing things different?
A little bit similar, sustainability. I know that's very, very important topic. Technology, a lot, people want to get there fast and they want to avoid any interactions. So, being able to do a pre-check-in and just get to the hotel, get your key as soon as you get there. It's some of the things that we're seeing. Remote work. I mean, now, offices are pretty much empty and people are traveling and they're vacationing, but they're also working. So that's something that we see more and more, looking for, workspaces at properties. Health and safety, obviously after the pandemic, everything changed. And, as much as that is not in our mind anymore, I think we still have in the back of our head that, health and safety is important. Wellness travel. It's funny because I was looking, not that I work out much, but I was like, I always look for a gym. And I think that that's something that's changed over the years as well. That wasn't important. It's more priority now. Cultural experiences. People are looking to do more and more things outside of the properties and get in touch with nature, with what locals are doing. And I think that's very fun to experience and to have part of, your offerings. And personalization. You want to do something different. You want to make sure that you're not just one of, like 1,000 people going and finding your own experiences. And in that, we are, I think for the all-inclusive market especially, it's becoming more and more of a transition to become an immersive individual destination than just a place to stay. So those are some of the trends that we're seeing and that, we want to continue exploring. So.
Yeah, it sounds like the week I'm having. I'm constantly sporting in the morning, and the people in the hotel think I'm actually on holiday with working in between. And I'm like, sadly, it's the other way around. I haven't, apart from diving in the water. Do providers, Sebastian, have a different set of trends top of mind in the way you're looking at them?
Sure, and I may nerd out a little bit because as a technology company, we view our customers being, the users and the owners and the operators of hotel businesses. So COVID has, to a certain extent, accelerated generational change, right? Like there was a lot of people that lost their jobs and then, left the industry. New people are joining this industry now that, most borders are up. Mexico being the only place that was open throughout the pandemic, which is still amazing to me, but certainly benefited this entire industry. We see a change that is driving how people look at technology. And I'll just, before talking about generation, I want to sort of share this fun fact, which I read up and was like, this is impossible. The iPhone was launched in 2007. That's 16 years ago. At Cloudbeds, we need to cater to a user that is comfortable with this type of experience. And that means, getting rid of function keys and creating an experience that is intuitive, where training is very lightweight or contextual, where we put a lot of emphasis in making it easy for a new employee to onboard and leverage the technology that is, to be honest, fantastic. It's fully automated, it's fully integrated. And that's some of the things that we're seeing, that these generational changes, these new entrants into the industry are looking for similar experiences than they have with their own devices. And if we can't deliver that, it creates friction. And we see our role being, in the business of removing that friction.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a kind of obvious idea, intuitive, innovative of itself. Are you having a hard job in selling that idea to the hotels?
No, not at all. I think in general, hoteliers sometimes may be afraid of change, right? Like, especially because we need to appreciate that. If you change technology, you're changing the engine of a car while you're driving 150, especially when you're running at 80% occupancy, right? So I think there is some things that can be done to mitigate risk and increasing comfort level, but this is sometimes more than an oil change, right? While you're driving. And I think we view our role in helping in that transition.
Yeah. No, I mean, joining the dots together and smoothing it over is really the route we could see that going together. Wonderful. I'm going to switch topics now and just come back on sustainability, because we've heard it twice here. It is top of mind everywhere. But sustainability means things to different people. I mean, when I learned myself about sustainability, it's very much for me putting in more than you take out, as opposed to just looking at the carbon footprint. But in this region, again, it also is seen differently. So I'm going to start at this end this time, Delia. How do you sort of see sustainability for you if you define it? What are the things which actually top of mind versus what it really isn't, but it is a common misconception?
Right. Yeah, I mean,
That's not too loaded a question.
no. I think sustainability is, integrated in everything that we do. We have to be conscious of the world, the environment, and, what we're leaving to the next generation without sounding too cliche. That is really, really important. I think that, again, over the past few years, we have to be more conscious about it, right? Like tourism is great, traveling, it's amazing. But if we don't take care of our resources, then we're not going to have a place to go.
Yeah.
So, at Blue Diamond Resorts, we're actively involved in staff and guests because, the more engaged you have, the people that surround you, the easier it is to do things in that regard. One of the things that we're doing, for example, is in Cancun, we're getting rid of straws. I think it was a hard thing to sell at the beginning, like especially, over the last few months, right? Like, why you don't have that? And it's like, well, once we explain you the reason why, and we have other options, we have biodegradable, but we have to know, we have to do it. We have to tell our staff why, we have to tell our guests why. And so that's been one of the changes that have been more impactful for both the environment and ourselves. And in here in Cancun, particularly in the summer, the sea turtles come and lay their eggs. And so, also it was a change to explain to guests and how we do this without, like interfering in their experiences. But one of the things that we did that I thought was really cool is that through the kids clubs, we will teach them and like show them. And some of the kids were actually lucky enough to see the turtles being born and getting in the sea. So those are some of the experiences that we're able to engage with our guests and to be able to have them understand what sustainability is everybody's responsibility, from the governments to the properties to the guests traveling and in experiences. So
that's really wonderful, making it an educational and the experience rather than just the plastic bottle or the reusable towels, which it's so easy to think that it just is. So Dana, are you doing something different, or how does your business?
No, I think it's very similar, but I have to say that this is one of our favorite topics from Hotel City Express. We have working with Booking a lot of, as I was saying before, with this all sustainable platform. But as an operator, we have a platform directly to sustainability, that is Impacto City platform, where you can review and check all the strategies and the activities that the chain make or do in sustainability. We believe that we are all guests of the world, and that we all have this responsibility to return something good of our planet.
Yeah.
And with it is since that we have very clear always that sustainable vision that since the operations of the company begins in 2003. So we have these 3 pillars where our operation is based on, and it's making a positive impact on the environment where we operate, generating an economic value and contributing to the society. And what we want is that our operations and our innovations contribute to the quality of life and to the progress of the communities where we operate. All our hotels were designed and being built to make national and international certifications standards. Some of the certifications that we have includes LEED certification, ED certification. In 2015, we obtained the biosphere certification. So that's some of the certifications that we want to talk about because we are very proud of.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of efforts to reduce, for example, our carbon dioxide levels, or we support platforms and projects that endorse energy efficient platforms, for example, or waste management. And all our hotels works with that vision since the chains start to operate. So we now more believe than ever that we have to give to the travelers one option that is sustainable, to make sure that they are doing a responsible selection, no? And if you allowed us, we want to keep sharing what are we doing, what are improving in this. So sustainability is for all.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great to hear so many things going on, but that is a lot, both on the experience and obviously the back sort of structure stuff. Do you find more of the challenge with that amount of stuff is actually being able to communicate it to a traveler to know just what a variety you're attempting? Because it's easy to miss, I think.
Yeah, but that's why we need to enforce the communication of these kind of practices, I think.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank
that
you.
That's a hugely valuable list.
Yeah. I mean, look, as a technology provider, we create heat, right? This is sort of data centers, computers.
I love the honesty.
Right, we create heat. That's not great. Our headquarters is based in San Diego, California. We have to comply with very stringent environmental standards in California, and that includes, having zero footprint from and using renewable energy from a data center, from a technology perspective. The other thing that I would like to share is we're a remote company, so we don't have a commute. Personally, what that means is I live in Montreal, Canada. Our average commute is 52 minutes in average. I'm fortunate. I go one floor of steps downstairs into my office, and that's true for about 700 employees worldwide. We focus on hiring the best people and keep them located where they are. And hopefully with that, we can do our part of helping being sustainable.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You start with saying you're a data company with heat. I guess that's us too. I was also challenged actually at a speaking event a number of months ago when people said, surely you want your travelers to stop traveling because getting on a plane is the one, big thing, which of course it is, but there's so many other things to educate and look at. And I think the more we talk about it and unravel what it can mean and what all the pieces are, the better chance we have of taking action towards some of them. So thanks for sharing all of that. It's a variety that I hope I can help bring to life.
Yeah.
Now, you touched on, Sebastian, I'm going to stay with you for a moment. You touched on AI briefly earlier on. Obviously, everybody's asking us all the time, what are we doing? And everybody's innovating and testing and trialing in this space because there's no proven stuff. But what are you doing here? And where do you think, if you're able to say, where do you think it's going?
Yeah, it's a great question. We started using AI, or an application of AI, about a decade ago. It was really machine learning, and machine learning being a self-learning algorithm that helps us be better at what we do. And the context of this was distribution, actually. We have two challenges. One is, you have fragmented inventory that you need to distribute to multiple channels, including Booking.com. And at some point, this can be fragmented because it's an offer, or it's a combination of rooms and rates. And when you have tens of thousands of hotels and you have hundreds of channels, making sure that you maximize opportunity and minimize forced sell is something that is almost an art, if you will. And so about a decade ago, we created this algorithm that allows us to be much more efficient in updating and statusing this information, publishing it out, and creating maximum opportunity for our properties while minimizing forced sell. So that was early adoptions of, if you will, machine learning. More recently, we're using generative AI in our customer success team. We have thousands and thousands of data points related to our partners, our own products. And what we want to do is help our own support teams be more efficient and quicker in answering inquiries from our customers. And one way we're doing that is we're feeding our customer success team, or giving them a tool that allows them to answer questions very, very quickly. Now, right now, we're still putting that human touch in between, because we want to make sure that these generative AI tools are accurate, are reflective of the truth, There needs to be a curation process, right? We're basically ensuring that the tool only uses the data we want them to use, so that we have the highest level of accuracy that we want.
Yeah, you touch on an amazing point. Actually, the traveler's willingness to trust
Yep.
what's in there is so pivotal to having this work. And I guess that we're going to have some shock stories as well as some great ones before we, as an industry, I think, get there to it. But great to hear what you're doing. Danae, are you doing anything? Are you able to share what you're doing? If you
Yeah,
are?
well, in Hotel City, we value and offer the physical experience always, but we cannot overlook that the technology is growing, and to leverage in our booking processes and to improve our customer experience. We understand that we have to be in all the ecosystems or where our customer is looking for, and that's why we've been working with our partners as Booking, which already begun to use or to offer these tools that provide with artificial intelligence to improve the relationship that we have with our mutual clients. This allowed us to know more or know better the customer journey, and to adapt also our brand communication to all the needs that we can focus on. Currently, we have journeys through Salesforce, such as chatbot, Facebook, CRM, and Google. And we are happy to learn more about it.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks for sharing. And finally, Delia, are you doing anything?
Yeah, I mean, we
That was a big
believe
smile.
that-
There's some meaty stuff. Are you going to share?
We just had our session last week, and artificial intelligence was one of the biggest topics. So that's just fresh in my mind. But we believe that it will be one of the most efficient, powerful tools in the next 10 years. I mean, it already is in here, and it's been around for a while. To what Sebastian said, like we've been using that to craft, successful differential experiences to our guests, right? Not only in advertising, but also in the service environment. Like you get crazy with the amount of questions that guests are asking now, and the information it's there. We just need to be able to transfer that data and share it with them as soon as possible, so they have a better experience. And without sounding too much of a cliche, information is power, right? So there's so much data that our travelers are sharing with us that we're just starting to dissect like just a small portion of it. So the more we know, the more info that we can dissect and understand, the better the experience will be for our clients.
Yeah, interesting. Now, I started off the session this morning talking about roles in a value chain from traveler, through to super smiley customer. As my sort of final question to the three of you is, do you think AI can be the thing that we work together on to solve that, or will we work much more on doing it disparately? I can see you take a deep breath, Sebastian. I'll start with you.
There was a conference this week in Singapore where somebody said on stage, AI will not replace you, but you will be replaced by somebody using AI, right? Which I thought was an interesting sort of twist.
So get to use the tools, basically.
Get to use the tools, right? Especially around accuracy and trust is an area, especially in travel, where I think we have to come together as an industry in order to control what our travelers experience as the right information. I mentioned it earlier in my comment. I wish with the magic wand, one of my wishes is that we redefine travel search. In order for this to happen, travelers need to trust the information we use. And if we can all come together and work towards creating that trust in the content and the information that we're putting out there, it doesn't matter what tools we use, we'll be successful.
Yeah. Wonderful. Danae, do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that it's something that we have to work together and to take the more advantage that we can.
Perfect. Final word with you. What do you reckon, Delia?
No, I definitely agree. Artificial intelligence will be a big part of everything that we do, but we still need that human interaction, right? That's why we're still here, we're still traveling, even though that we were able to do a lot of our work, like remotely and digital, we still need that human interaction. So working together, with companies like you guys and hotels, airlines, we will provide a better experience, and that will just, bring more guests to know the new destinations and stuff.
Brilliant.
So,
I mean, my personal opinion is also that it is the human touch and the machines in harmony working together. So that's a perfect point. I'm afraid I don't have any more time to ask questions, which I'd love to. But Delia, Denai, and Sebastian, thank you very much for giving us your time. Please joining me in thanking the panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.